Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and today I'm joined by our VP of Operations, Amanda, and a very special guest, Sabrina Runbeck. So, Sabrina, for everyone out there, she is a cardiothoracic. I don't think I said that right. Cardiothoracic surgery PA, and she's a public health practitioner. And so Sabrina's story is really great for right now and what a lot of people are going through. She, after overcoming burnout and feeling stuck in her career that drained her, she became an international peak performance speaker, empowering young professionals to find their voice and overcome the stress. I'm looking at my notes here of their personal and professional expectations. Wow, that's amazing. Sabrina offers personalized coaching. She's a public speaker. She hosts the podcast, Powerful and Passionate Healthcare Professionals. And that's how we met because Sabrina asked me to be on her show. Thank you so much. I was so thrilled to do that. And she's also joined up with 18 other Asian thought leaders to write the book, Asian Women Who Boss Up. What a great title. So today we're going to be talking with Sabrina and Amanda about talking about overcoming burnout and finding more energy and building mental immunity. What a great topic. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you so much for having me, Amanda, and thanks everyone for listening in. We know you can be anywhere, but you choose us, so we appreciate you.
Absolutely. We are so thrilled to have you tuning in. And if you're joining us for the first time, don't miss a single episode. Go ahead and subscribe to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your podcasts. And while we're on the subject, share the love and click all 5 stars. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so Amanda, you want to get us kicked off today?
Yeah, I do. Burnout has been a major topic among millennials in recent years, and it's something I've experienced as a millennial myself. And for example, you, Sabrina, on your website, you cite a recent study which showed that millennial physicians reported a higher rate of burnout, although burnout is high across other fields as well. Why do you think burnout is so high in recent years, and why is it so high among millennials in particular?
It's such a great question. Actually, to put that one step further, a recent study actually this year shown the average age of burnout in the US is 32.
Wow.
That is the most crazy thing ever. So now you question, oh, if I'm not 32, am I going to burn out that age? Or what about all the people who passed that era? What are we doing now? I believe one is that we don't truly have a burnout issue. We don't truly have a stress management issue. What we really have is a balance and leadership issue. We were never taught on how to lead ourselves. We're not just dumping more knowledges, more certification, more title, more earning. How can we really walk the walk, not just feeling like we have to talk the talk? And bring out the best in us, knowing where is our genius zone and passion zone, and hold on to that, not just keep searching for what doing part. Why we got into this place, as you are asking? Well, because when we were younger, we were so good at saying yes and no, exactly knowing what we want, right? As we grew up, people keep asking what do you want to do when you grew up? Such a frequent question. However, it's such a fair question. We haven't truly experienced many things ourselves. And how many of us truly have created the right is? How would you want to live? What type of lifestyle you want to have when you get to a adulthood? And how and why do you want to live? If we don't even know the end goal, we don't even know where our life could be. Who do we want to hang out with? How do we want to create a life? Where we want to live? How we want to live? Then all this doing part is not going to necessarily get us there. It's just like a little bunny rabbit, right? Digging multiple holes, feel like, oh, eventually I can get somewhere, right? Many people feel like, well, I have 10 different passions. I should be doing everything. Well, do you want to be on a snail pace? doing everything at the same time, or picking only one or two like a rocket ship so you can launch yourself into success.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense. I understand the idea of like wanting to do everything at once, and it just doesn't work that way because like then you really can't keep up with everything and do well at everything. You have to, narrow your focus, as you said.
It's so true. It's so true. And especially in this always on culture um, that we have here in the States, you know, it's said that a lack of focus and then irritability, that they're often caused by a lack of energy. And I know that when I get overwhelmed or I get tired because it's just like I'm working late trying to get everything done. It definitely makes me more irritable and you get that emotional weakness there. So what can we do to create more stamina and focus to brighten, those really busy days that we face?
Great question. When we don't have the right energy, no matter how many productivity tips we are trying to implement, you're actually not doing that. Or you try to once or twice and it's not in the way that will produce your result because you're not doing it correctly, you're going to give up. I always say we have to reboot our energy and do that first before we moving on to how to become even more efficient. So once we getting a clear picture of what we want out of life, then the second step really is about your energy piece, right? And then I say there's a 6 really detailed steps for you to become that peak performer. No longer be in the spot that's constantly going. Just because you do a lot of things, you're busy, doesn't mean you're doing the busy work that will produce your time. It can be busy work that robbing your time. So where does that even look like? There's multiple components. Something simple that I always communicate on is these 2-minute micro vacation exercise, I call them. So what does that look like? Is using your breath, using your body, highlighting one of your senses, either touch, smell, taste, sight. Sight is a little difficult. Usually the advanced clients would do that. But we can start at the simple thing and then set new intention before we wrap up this exercise. And that will force your attention away from mental chatter, which are these 42 80,000 of million of thoughts that are bombarding our mind every day. And majority of them are from previous day, previous event that are not serving you. So what does that even look like? It's noticing your posture right now. So most of us are sitting, right? Are we dropping your shoulders? Is your spine aligned? Or if you're just leaning in, right? When you're leaning in, you close up your thoracic cavity, means your chest. You're already narrowing how much space you allow yourself to breathe. So think about that, right? You're creating tension. And then what about your neck? Is that nicely relaxed, right? Elongated, or you're like shoulder up and tightness, right? So even just noticing your body, and this you can do a sitting and standing. Standing, you can even be more center because you can shifting your weight, right? Left and right, move out your toes. You know you're exactly where. And then if it's safe for you, you wanted to close your eyes. Visualization is so distracting. And that's why I say highlighting your vision is actually an advanced cue that we train. An easy thing for people is smell and touch, right? Like, and then it's easy. So that means if people prefer smell, you use an essential oil. People who prefer touch, pressure points, right? All over our body. So now we know when you actually do a slow breath out, it slows down your heart rate. Now breath in, right? If you do a lot of quick breath in, that's panic attack reaction, right? So what you want is, okay, we can do this really quick. So whether you're sitting or standing, right? Drop your shoulder, feel your neck elongated nicely, restful. Close your eyes and take a quick 2 breath in, slow breath out. Count in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can even, when you breath out, make your mouth a O shape and feeling that vibration of the air come out. So do one more. Quick breath in, breath out, slow. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. While you're closing your eyes, forgive any thoughts that are bombarding your mind. Let them fly past you like the wind. And then how are we going to highlight one of our senses? Is you can use 2 of your hands, put them together, and simply just feeling the inner palm, your fingertip, focusing only on the sensation of touch. How rough, smooth is your fingernails, moist of your hands. When you are concentrating only on the sensation, you're intentionally divert all your thoughts on something that's good, right? Touch, highlighting that positive euphoria even. So after you have done this for about 2 minutes, I want you, before you open up your eyes, set a new intention of how you want to show up for the next thing. Just like the rest of the show that you're listening. Do you want it to be open? Do you want it to be creative? Do you want it to be approachable? Whatever that looks like for you, you set an intention. So no matter what roadblocks you have coming into your life, now you have a way to respond. No longer be in the reacting mode and just fire and fly. You already prepare yourself.
Yeah, no, this is really helpful. I mean, I guess some of these are meditation techniques, right? I've been practicing meditation a lot in the last 6 months or so as well, and I keep trying to remind myself to pause during the day and do these breathing exercises, but I always forget. I guess I need to put a reminder, so I keep doing that.
Yes, that's such a great thing you brought up, putting a reminder. Why is that? We always can learn this one tip, one exercise, and feel like those could be really good for me. How come we're not doing it? Because we haven't created that ritual, right?
Mhm.
When we think about habit building is you need to understand what's the end result you want to get. What does that mean to do that shift of exercise, whether it's just traditional meditation, go out for a walk, shake your body, right? Whatever that is. What does that mean to you? What's that result? Is it just to reset yourself, give yourself a calmness, give yourself more energy, a peace of mind, and not stress, whatever that is, remember that result. And then think about what's the trigger that you can create. And that trigger can be every time you wanted to go use the restroom, you're going to do this. Every time you eat, you want to do this. Create some trigger that already existing in your life already, then it's easier. Or set an alarm, right? If you hear that tone, now I'm definitely going to do it, non-negotiable, right? And so when you have the end result, you understand if I have this trigger, I want to get this end result. Therefore, I'm not just like turn off my alarm and forgot about it. And I'm actually going to replace this activity instead of what we do typically is let me grab another coffee, espresso, or get myself a cookie or something that's not actually helping us.
hmm Yeah, that's so helpful, and I'm going to use those tips to actually keep practicing it each day. So many of us are finding that being always on and having back-to-back meetings leads to a loss of boundaries on when to stop, and this has a whole host of negative effects. How can people learn to say no gracefully and stop wearing busyness like a badge of honor?
Yes. When our meeting is back to back, you feel obligated to finish this conversation. Now, just before our recording, I had a call with a physician who's doing health coaching, and we had a great conversation, but then I had to have a hard stop. That's the thing, is knowing there's something else come up. You have to allow yourself to even build in preemptively that 5-minute grace period. Even though we think we cannot, who says now we cannot? When you are in any type of meeting, something I do, if you happen to be in a client, and especially in a medicine sense, if people come to you, you don't want it to disrupt people. You can just set up in the beginning. to have a purpose. And you wanted to tell people, hey, I'm so nice to meet you. And then this is what our purpose of this meeting. And then before we wrap up, I will give you a, let's say, 5-minute heads up. So then we can get to XYZ, right? Then you already put that intention into people's mind and they know it's not just endless conversation. We can talk to probably anybody for a long time, especially if the topic is interesting. And you probably want to leave the meeting within 5 minutes if it's not. However, when it comes to time, if you set some of the boundary up front, or let's just say you forgot to set boundary, at least when it's close to the end, you can simply tell people, I love what we just discussed and wish to talk about more on XYZ. Do you mind if we set up another time? And so we don't cut ourselves short, or we wanted to elaborate on XYZ. And then you give yourself and that other person a boundary, and they actually respect you even more.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of things that can also help you create those sort of buffer zones, either how you manage, for me, for my iCal, I'll put things in that I literally have time blocks that are reserved for Lynn. So that people I can't get overbooked in a day. Because I was telling Amanda today, it was just like I have been in back to back to back to meetings. And part of that was also because something had to be rescheduled, and I allowed the client to sort of sandwich it in. So I just made it tougher because I put it in one of those reserved for Lynn slots. But man, I mean, it's that brings us into that digital fatigue, right? Because we're on so many, for us, like our training and everything else occurs virtually, and that fatigue has just skyrocketed for so many people since we've been living this through the pandemic, and how that's impacted our lives. So what are your suggestions, Sabrina, for bringing people back to like social connections and reducing stress?
You have to kind of do the work, right? Like I think a lot of us feel like, oh, social connection is bad for everybody. However, you can be super creative when it comes in this way. It's not about waiting for people to reach out to you. You have to have the intention to reach out to other people, especially the key figures that will actually make a difference in your career or in your life. One of the exercises I have people do for who are my clients is this Burnout Bulletproof worksheet. And we discuss, it's your time. You deserve some me time on a weekly basis. Grab your favorite drink, whatever that is, sit down and work on that worksheet. And people found it really helpful because now they know exactly when to say yes, when to say no. They have pre-scheduled, right? They know their non-negotiable 3-value system for the week. So anything that doesn't match, guess what? Simple no. It doesn't need to be explained. And one of my friends said this, I love it. She says no means new opportunity. Because when you say no to the things that are robbing your time, you create new opportunity to the things that you truly need to say yes to, right? And therefore, when you have non-negotiable list, and then think about what kind of skill that you wanted to match for this week, who can help you to get to the skill, and not have to do your own background research and spend a lot of time, right? The easiest way to get to any place is to follow those who has already done it. So the knowing who means a lot more. You have to reach out, whether it's a text message, a personal card, a letter that even go really extra mile, right? What I do is someone who I really wanted to connect with. I'm a speaker, so I film them a 2-minute video and I send that out and just say, hey, I thought about you, and this is I saw what you were doing. I really wanted to connect. There's a personal video I have for you. Yes, it might take longer to have that in your thought. Some people have a fear on camera, but you actually is just talking to someone, another human being. No one is that all special and we are all unique in our own way. So think about different ways you can build that connection so you can elevate each other.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I mean, those are great ideas. I scheduled a virtual pie party with our family, our extended family, for the holidays. And I did get some confusion, like, are we all making pie at the same time? I mean, and I was like, no, it's just sort of a funny play on words. It just meant that we all get together. And if you happen to want to make pie, fine. If you want to eat pie, fine. But it's you choose when you want to make that time. And so it was a way for me to do that so like we could get the family together, all from wherever we are in the world, so that we could just see each other and visit a little and like, well, what's going on with you this year?
Yeah. So, Sabrina, you've talked about this concept of mental immunity. Can you talk about that and how people can build mental immunity, and what we can do to combat unpredictable internal and external roadblocks in life?
Yeah, it's such a great thing. When we think about mental immunity, it's as important as physical immunity. It's a muscle, our mental muscle that we need to build. It's not something people would think, oh, that's just my personality. Just love me or hate me. No, you have capacity to learn. You have capacity to grow, and you have capacity to understand this might be my tendency, but that's not my whole self. So if it's not my whole self, what can I do to remove some of the sabotaging tendency I already have? So in my training with Dr. Shasa from Stanford, there are 9 different categories. And for most of us who are in high driven, ambitious round, the top few are controlling. We feel like we have to plan out every single step, then we will be successful. I have to know all the things I need to do, then someone else will do it perfectly. Now that lead to the perfectionism. Your identity got attached to perfection. If it's not perfect, you feel like you're not as good, people will judge you, and who are you? You're not as good. But this quote unquote perfectionism is your own creation. It's a false belief you created. How do you know what people love or dislike if you haven't even put things out there? And if you
Mhm.
don't put out there, how can you improve? Now, what else is our too logical, right? We're thinking about all the reasons, all the behind the scenes, and we feel like if I can make a logical, critical thinking judgment, then it will be something. Well, it's analysis paralysis. Have you even made it the first step to even try it out? If you didn't, how could you say XYZ will fail you? And even some other people's case might have happened. What's the percentage of that being true? Do you know it's absolutely true for you? We're different, our background's different, our resources different. How could you say it's not working for you? So this criticizing judgment within each of these components is so highlighted in every aspect of our life. And if we keep criticizing ourselves, it's like, well, if you're beating yourself bloody for every little thing that you do, you really honor yourself? You really be happy? And how can you feel satisfaction in that? That's why I say, how can we enjoy the now? And knowing it's going to be difficult to cross off all the things on your to-do list. But even you just did 70% of that, that 70% deserve to be, hey, thumb up, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's so important. And I know we've talked a lot about perfectionism, before and on the show. And really coming back full circle to the beginning of this podcast, we talked about millennials and burnout. But I also know that you're so passionate about empowering women and those women who are experiencing work-related stress, but they earn fewer leadership positions and less pay. And so I'd love to learn more about your work, about empowering women or Asians in work, and the two areas where there's that intersection, and what you're doing to shine light on that.
I always think at myself is that the typical really hardworking Asian who's also a really good American rebel in the way of I grew up only child, I'm the only girl, all my cousins are boys. And in traditional Asian family, you always put male on the pedestal, not to say they don't see me as important, whatnot, and everything usually what I want usually get taken care of. But that's not the point. It's the point is how they see you as an impactful person. Now, I felt like when I grew up, I had to fight against of those type of things and feel like you have to be the one who do and go and just drive and maintain yourself. So from that experience, I got 2 masters and got into the medical degree, got even into one of the most prestigious heart institute. But then I was doing what? Now I have to perform. Now I'm there. And now I'm working 80 plus hours a week, taking calls all the time and doing multiple cases, surgical cases, endless. And then even after your case, you like, oh, there's new consult, there's even new things, new patient to do. Wow. Is your life just like rotating circle of just doing? Again, part of our beginning thing. Do we really have to prove to other people our quality, or do we need to recognize our own value system that we already made? We already need to enjoy of now, take ownership of that. And when people are keep adding the demands, feeling that you have to do XYZ, what's the boundary you can set for yourself and understand that's not how I want to live? So I had to make that whole shift and pivot. And realizing you can create the environment that's safe, that's joyful. So when after I implemented something into my hospital, and then I said, I understand it takes time to implement, so you guys can do it. I need to be now honor my own life and myself, go somewhere else. And it's not just about leaving and switching job. If you don't have the basic foundation of what you need to do, like what we talk about, understanding what that ultimate life looks like, removing some of the sabotaging behavior, and regenerate your energy, creating the best influence, and creating that continuous momentum, you're still gonna stuck even you have moved on. So when I moved on, the first 2 weeks, I realized things are not really working well. Guys, how about we switch things up, making it more fair? You have a more rotational schedule. It's about understanding again what you want out of life and not afraid to speak up. And then when you're creating these nuances into your life, you bring more excitement. You're creating more exploration, right? Bring out the novelty, innovation side of yourself. So there could be so many things that we can look into, but if we're doing too much at the same time, again, we start getting lost. Yeah. So when it comes to women, we don't have to be just a mom, just a career woman, or feeling like we have to do both. You need to be your own version, and you need to understand and create that perfect lifestyle for you. And once you have that, no matter what other people are saying to you, the naysayers, we get to be true to ourselves and just keep going. If it's the career, if leadership, who do you need to connect to? How do you want to amplify your skills so you can be that influential key figure they couldn't afford to lose? Also because you understand so many other people's genius zone and passion zone. So if you're already so devoted and bring out the natural talent to you, how could people afford to lose you and not promote you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, Sabrina, thank you. Wow, thank you so much for sharing everything you did today. I just feel like we got a lot for our audience, and the resources, your on the spot training for managing burnout, finding the more energy and feeling more fulfilled at work. This has been so valuable. How can our listeners find out more about you?
I am very active on LinkedIn and Instagram. You can find me at my handle, Sabrina Runbeck, and feel free to check out my website, sabrinarunbeck.com, where I give you the similar resource as what we did for the exercise. And that one actually talks about pressure point in your eye, so you can help you to relax your vision because we're staring at computers so much nowadays. And also for anybody who you're in the right spot and you have more to give, but your plate is full, we can have a peak performance blueprint 15 minutes to figure out what are some roadblocks, remove that, and then what could be a better path for you to highlight yourself in your career path and your life.
Well, that's terrific. I know that we're going to share all those links for everyone who's listening. Sabrina, Amanda, thank you both so much for this amazing, informative, just valuable discussion.
Thank you
And
so much for having me on.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're thrilled. And so for all you out there who've tuned in, if you have ideas that you'd like to share, you can leave us a comment. We love to hear your thoughts. You can also email us at jointheconversation@petitequeen.com. And that includes if you have some ideas for topics that you'd like us to cover on the show. And of course, to stay current on all of our insightful advice and the breakthrough advantages that we provide, you can sign up for our weekly wisdoms newsletter at petitequeen.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks.